Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Okay, before we get into today's episode, I have to shout out someone who's not just a sponsor of the podcast, but one of my favorite humans, Becky from Wilson Aesthetic Company, located in Oregon. If you know me, you know I don't share things I don't 100% believe in, and this one is something special because it's built by my bestie. Wilson Aesthetic Company is all about enhancing what you already have, not changing who you are. It's thoughtful and rooted in education and safety, which is exactly how she approaches everything. From neurotoxins and fillers to skin treatments that support long-term results, every appointment is customized and never cookie cutter. If you've ever been curious about aesthetic treatments or just want to feel like the most refreshed version of yourself, check out Wilson Aesthetic Company. I trust her with my face, and that says everything. You can find Wilson Aesthetic Company on Instagram or book a consultation directly. Tell her I sent you and get $25 off your first treatment.
Hello, welcome. I am sick yet again. I haven't been sick other than this year, in like 3 years. I like brag about this shit. I am so proud of my wellness regimen that I have, and it has just taken me down. And if you have ever, there used to be this video, gosh, I think it was like 2010-ish, that was going around that was joking about like a man cold and how men are like whiny about their man colds. So that is me. That is me 100%. I don't like being sick. I do so many things to be well that when I am unwell, I am not good at it, like not at all. So I have a cough drop in my mouth. I kind of tried to spruce up a little bit for this, but that sick look, like puffy, my nose is all red. It's just, ugh. So here I am once again in the last couple of months, just spending an entire week down and out being sick. I haven't exercised. I haven't left the house in a week. So that's where I'm at. I hope you are doing better. I hope you handle your colds better. Some people just power through, and I used to do that. And that is not part of what I haven't even have access to anymore. So I hope you are feeling well and are enjoying this kind of, well, I guess it's not spring-like today, but we're sort of approaching that spring. March is my favorite month. I do have a favorite month. This is the month, I feel like I said this last year too. This is the month my husband and I kind of started thinking about dating, which I had no business doing at the time, but sort of we like to relive that in this time. So that's exciting for me. Okay, today on the podcast, what are we going to talk about? I had, this idea. I actually think that I saw something on TikTok, and I apologize because you all probably know I didn't watch the Olympics, but I do know that there was a young woman who was a skater and ice skate. And I think it was her that said something about kind of like not chasing the goal and enjoying the kind of in between. And then this week in one of my sessions, one of the people that I'm working with has a lot of lifting goals. And I've noticed a trend of kind of not being satisfied when hitting the goals, kind of like, well, I want to be better. And it kind of got me to thinking of what does it actually look like to live in the in-between? And how do we really settle into that in-between? Most of my work is centered around, helping people achieve and set goals. And how do you create a system in order to reach the goal, which is all needed and great. And also, where is the pause? Where is the in-between of kind of being and who you're becoming? Because truly, I believe that who you're becoming en route to the goal is so much more important than actually hitting the goal, because the goal is a moment, right? And it might be, you've got a degree, or you ran the race, or you are, kind of living in a more healthy way now. Those things all matter, but what matters is the day you set the goal and in between and until you meet it. Like that's where the magic is. And are we paying attention to that? I know I really struggle with that, the sort of in between part. I used to have such intensity that I was just so focused and driven. And now I've kind of swung the other way where I'm not as intense like at all. And I'm sort of missing a little bit of that intensity. It's like, how do I live in this more, non-adrenaline state? I'm still figuring that one out. But I just wanted to kind of plant the seed of this because in the world that we live in, productivity and achieving is highly rewarded. I reached this, I achieved this, and that can become your identity versus who are you actually when you are in the doing, in the hard parts. Who are you becoming? What are you learning? And what would it look like, as you're designing your goals and what you kind of want to do next? What would it look like to actually infuse and design space for reflection of who you're becoming and really giving kind of the same level or more importance to, what are you learning along the way and really reflecting and being in that learning. Who are you impacting? Because when we're going out and we're doing these things, it could be your immediate family and really settling into that and noticing. One of the things that I have been noticing lately, which this has nothing to do, with goal setting, except for the fact that I really am trying to be more settled in just in life in general. My 10-year-old, she used to get up and, just start getting ready right away. And she has started setting her alarm 15 minutes earlier in the morning, comes straight downstairs because I'm already up having my coffee. And she spends 15 minutes snuggling me. And I didn't really I obviously realized it because she's with me. But after a couple of weeks, I'm like, wait a second. She's legitimately getting up 15 minutes early just to sit with me and have snuggle time with me. Like at some point, I'm going to look back and not realize, oh, that stopped. So I'm really, really, really trying to be super present inside those 15 minutes. And a lot of times that's like the best part of my whole day. Like she is showing up. It's just us, I don't even know, but it's really, I had a similar thing when I had my last child. She's 8 now, but I knew that I was not having another kid because, we have a lot. And I would kind of settle into the moments and just really try to slow down. I think I've shared on here about how I would go to yoga and like rush out of there. And also I'm like, what am I doing? Like I spend all this time like actively trying to be slow and then I haul ass out. And so I would really try to be intentional and slow down. And I know you can, kind of get these in meditation and breath work and things like that. But I think noticing it, if you don't have a practice like that, because you do have to be very intentional for things like this, but just kind of notice like life. What is your life? What are you, doing in the in between? Who are you being in the in between? I was with my coach this week, and one of the things that I had a kind of a question, and she's like, well, how do you want to feel? And then she suggested I kind of apply these different scenarios over it. Like, how do I want to feel in different situations that would come up in life? And then how can I kind of start designing my life that way? And it kind of got me thinking just about like my days. How do I want to be feeling, in the totality of the in between? It kind of freaked me out a little bit because I think we're so busy and so just kind of doing that we're not really thinking about being or feeling. So I really just wanted to bring this as an opportunity and invitation to kind of think about what it would look like in your life to be more present, to be enjoying the journey as much, if not more, than the chase, and settling in and looking at what does it look like to create intentionality around that. For me, it usually looks like setting an alarm to like, hey girl, here's a reminder of what we're doing here. Or little post-it notes. One of the things I was doing this morning was practicing breathing because I can't breathe right now. And I have an Aura ring. And one of the things on there is your HRV. And I was kind of looking at how to increase that because mine is very low and it says, it's stress. And one of the ways was deep breathing. And I actually hate deep breathing because I struggle to get breaths in. And I was like, okay, I'm going to intentionally practice that. And I could feel myself, and I know this stuff. And that's the thing. We know these things, but I could feel myself. I was doing it as I was helping the girls get ready in the morning. And I could feel myself slowing down and being present. It was just a really neat thing. Although there was at one point I was sitting having coffee with my husband, and this was after the girls got dropped off from school. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just deep breathing, and I'm trying to practice breathing." And he's like, "It looks like there's candles in between us." He's like, "It looks like you're trying to light the candles with your eyes." So apparently my being present in deep breathing is a little scary. And my RBF is like on fire, apparently. So just what would this look like in your life to add a maybe daily and weekly and monthly reflection of living life? And how are you wanting to feel? Who are you being? Who are you becoming in between the goals, in between the work projects, in between the events for your children? How do you want to be? I shared when I do go to my daughter's volleyball tournaments, I have to we haven't stayed in hotels much this season, but last season I would have to open the hotel door and be like, okay, and prepare myself for going out amongst the people, because that's very hard for me. But kind of like that, it's like, okay, who do you want to be when you open your eyes in the morning? Who do you want to be in relationship to these people? And then taking time to reflect on that and appreciate that just as much as the goal, and kind of making this a practice and stepping out of the grind and into life. So one of the other examples I wanted to give before we wrap up, because I'm kind of thinking this is so ingrained in us. And if you think about, school, in school, you were praised probably by your teachers, classmates, your parents for getting good grades, which is the outcome, right? You weren't necessarily praised for the study time or anything like that. You were praised for the outcome, not what you learned. It was the outcome. And my youngest right now has just started doing spelling tests, and she has gotten all 10 out of 10s on her spelling, but this girl loves spelling. She's always like, give me more. And it's not about the actual test, even though we're all excited. I just kind of expect now that she's going to come home with a 10 out of 10. But I don't want to praise that more than I'm praising the excitement that she has for the learning. She's always looking for more challenge words, which I'm like, well, I don't want to confuse you. But also, I want to encourage her to have fun with it and practice it, because she is absolutely so excited. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for what is that in between excitement, and how can we fuel that and appreciate that and drop into it and be in that, versus I hit the 10 out of 10 and now I'm just going to start preparing and memorizing the next 10 out of 10, and just this cog of over and over and over again, instead of being so fucking excited and enthusiastic and all of the delightful things that you can be in the learning, and how can we make it fun, and how can we have laughs or whatever it is, in the process of it. So I hope that maybe this slowed you down just a little bit, and think of maybe where you could practice this. Maybe it's a certain time of day. Maybe it is a certain day of the week, whatever it looks like for you, to kind of just slow your roll and really settle into the actual life that you're living, and how you're living, and what it feels like to be living, versus the check. I checked the box. All right. Be well. Be more well than me right now. And I will talk to you next time.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.